CT's Alistair being stricken away, but what else can you do to shut down that terrifying, hyper-aggressive team?
I feel like it's really about shutting down their playmakers, which is going to be Swift and Doinby, making sure that Doinby's retained in the mid lane, so either picking high wave clear against him or at least something that can follow up and has the mobility to chase him around the map. But again, it's about stalling out Swift, and Swift finds a ton of success on Rek'Sai just because that champion is so mobile and so devastating in small skirmishes.
Interestingly enough, there is the Victor being stricken away from Master3. They don't want to chance that being secured by Xiaogu, which means they clearly have got something lined up for that first pick.
That means that they have a priority pick set up for Looper. Again, you saw that V has had a lot of success on Hecarim, and yeah, I talked about how V hasn't been as consistent for me as far as a hard carry, but he can do it on Hecarim. It's just, you know, can he do it on Gnar? Can he do it on Maokai?
We'll definitely see Xiaogu have got to know that that's the case. There's Cassiopeia stricken away from Dade. Azir still on the board. Victor taken away as well means that he might have to go for something just a little bit more aggressive. And all in all, seems like we're taking it nice and slow through the ban phase. Master3 don't want to take any chances and rush through this.
Big priority picks. All of the junglers have still available, haven't been touched yet. Fizz, likewise, still on the board, and Kalista and Sivir.
Very interesting to see those still open. Both TNT and SMLZ could be looking for that Sivir. Echo stricken as well.
A lot of mid lane focus.
Yeah. They definitely want to shut down Doinby. Has Swift taken Echo?
I can't recall.
I could see him as an Echo player.
I would imagine so.
Definitely more so than V. Maybe not as much as Doinby, but we'll definitely see. And last up, we're going to get the final ban for Xiaogu as they prepare to go up against Master3. So that's a lot of focus, as you mentioned, on Doinby. And again, they're attacking the two duos. Last up is going to be Kandi's Gragas taken away.
They should first pick either Hecarim or Rek'Sai here.
Yeah, Sivir's still on the board as well. So let's see how they decide to go with this. Oh, Kalista, SMLZ. He's feeling sharp today.
So Kalista has 100% either pick or ban rate. Not surprising that they would first rotate her. SMLZ has had success on Kalista, but the thing is he's not the primary carry for that team. He can do well. He's how I like to describe Hatong. So if the team is doing well, if Master3 are ahead, yes, SMLZ can do his job. He can show up. He can put out that damage in the fight, but he's never going to be the guy that takes the game by the reins and leads his team to victory.
So we'll definitely have to see if that's the case this time around. Again, we talked about how Master3 like to play it slow and steady. Kalista's one of the champions who can do that. Xiaogu looking to go for the more standard meta picks. It's going to be V role-playing once again on top. Maokai and TCT taking the support Nautilus.
V actually shifting it up, so playing a lot of Hecarim recently, goes back to the Maokai, and this is pretty what's expected, frankly, when you see a Kalista on the other side. Maokai is considered a soft counter just because, again, the Twisted Advance is a targetable snare, so her martial pose doesn't mean as much if you're able to get back there and slow her down.
Yeah, so that means that we are now looking at the next pick for Master3. Kandi going to be snagging that Rek'Sai away from Swift with Gragas off the board. You've got to wonder what Xiaogu can be thinking for the next ones as Love CD takes that Thresh.
Pretty standard second rotation from Master3. They still kind of hide what their identity as a composition is. I would expect that they're going to pick up some zone control for their mid and top lane just to give Kalista more room to run around.
Definitely have to see as we're getting now to the next picks for Xiaogu, looking at rounding that composition out. You can see Doinby right there. Looking at some of those mid lane picks, could be Swift taking Nidalee in the jungle, could be Doinby taking it in the mid lane if they decide to lock that in. And there you can see TNT communicating happily, and yeah, that's going to be Nidalee locked in. And Sivir to match it up. Interesting that we're getting this far through the draft phase. And yeah, last second swap over to Tristana.
Okay, so deciding on Triss, I thought for sure it was going to be a Sivir because, again, just empowering Maokai to get to the back line and get on top of Kalista to slow her down. But TNT going a different route, more late game damage oriented range.
Yeah, very interesting composition coming out of Xiaogu for a team that's so aggressive. They seem to be taking a more poke-oriented, siege-oriented team. Though they do definitely have a lot of dive so far with that Maokai and Nautilus for getting into the back line. Now Master3 waiting all the way to the 4th draft phase. Hecarim falling that low on the priority list for these teams. It's picked up for Looper where Dade takes Kassadin.
No threat really to take the Hecarim so early just because they saw the second rotation Maokai from Xiao. So they hovered Rumble for a second looking for that zone control again for Kalista, but decide instead of the equalizer zone control that they're just going to go for the straight hard engage backline threat, picking up both Kassadin and Hecarim.
Yeah, so Master3 looking to have a very strong team comp in those team fights. You're going to have Looper diving into the back, Dade hot on his heels while SMLZ dashes around the outskirts of the fights, picking off anyone out of position. And with Lulu picked up last, it looks like it's going to be Swift taking Nidalee in the jungle and Doinby going for the more utility-oriented Lulu.
Lulu very quick, very able to kind of rotate in between lanes when she uses her Whimsy on herself. So see how Doinby is going to use this pick to follow Swift around. Again, that's kind of been his MO and his original identity coming into the split, is almost as a secondary support to Swift. Played a lot of Morgana early on, picking up a lot of Lulu, and we see it again on that Nidalee. So watch for how Swift and Doinby get together and how they impact the map around them.
Yeah, and now we're running through the roster right now. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on Swift's mobility as he is on that very scary Lulu. And you talked a little bit about how the utility-oriented mid laner would work out for Doinby. He does have that Lulu to follow Swift and be that secondary support. There's Kandi on his Rek'Sai. And here's Dade and Doinby, the two of them looking awfully fierce in that mid lane.
Doinby just looks adorable. He's just like, hi.
TNT and SMLZ now. Filling
like
out that 80 carry role.
TNT's hair.
It's awesome.
He has it all cut off now, but it looks pretty cool for picture day.
He also has glasses.
Yes.
He didn't have glasses earlier.
He has glasses on right now.
You can see him. He's the second one on the right over there.
Deer.
But he wasn't wearing glasses during his picture day.
Oh.
Trying to look stylish.
Apparently. But with this comp, though, I would like to point out that Xiao running a very... I mean, Swift obviously taking an aggressive jungler, but running a very siege-oriented composition, having that Nidalee, giving that stir right over to Tristana, and Tristana with her satchel changes, being able to apply onto tower, can push them down very quickly.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that works out and if the siege will be effective as we're loading into the Rift for game number 1 between Xiao and Master3. We have loaded onto the Rift. It's Master3 versus Qiao. Swift on that very mobile Nidalee. Again, this is week number 5, day 3, set number 2, game number 1.
Of a best of 2.
Of a best of 2 between Master3 and Qiao.
I think it's week 6, though. You keep saying it might be week 5. I have to double check. I think it's week 6.
I'm pretty sure it's week 5.
It's week 5. We have confirmation week 5. Week 5, day 3, game 2. No, set 2, game 1.
Oh, boy.
Xiao. Okay, so we talked about how Xiao are doing a poke siege type of composition. You have the mobility of Nidalee and Lulu to help them quickly rotate in between lanes, so there is a lot of tower pressure. On the other side, Master3, this is an all 5v5. You've got great backline threat from Kassadin and Hecarim, but they kind of leave Kalista to her own devices. Now, SMLZ, he has a lot of tools on this Kalista. Obviously, her martial pose passive able to help her reposition around a fight. But again, there are tools like the Maokai that have been picked up to counteract this. So we'll see if Love CD on his Thresh, if that Dark Passage is really enough to kind of reset a fight after a twisted advance to a backline.
That looks really cool.
I think that's Pawn.
Samsung,
Or no, it's Dade.
Samsung White Dade.
Yeah, after he gave his jacket away. That's, or I guess pre-jacket giving away.
That's so cool.
No, it has to be Pawn because it had the Samsung White.
I know, it looked like Talon.
I don't know. It's
and there was Singed right next to him.
Guy with dark hair, glasses. The Pawn and Dade, they both wear glasses. They both have dark hair. It looked more like Dade to me than it did like Pawn.
Why would you hold up a Pawn sign when Dade is playing?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's Dade.
Maybe they just wanted to show off their cool art.
It's like the white jacket. You associate it with Samsung White, even though Dade was Samsung Blue, and he wore the white jacket anyway.
IDK.
I think it's Dade.
IDK, my BFF Jill.
No.
We do look like we're having a lane swap out of Love CD and SMLZ. And yeah, that's exactly what it's going to be.
I feel like SMLZ is always put in a lane swap, like either with his Caitlyn or his Kalista, but he does this thing where he doesn't push. He'll be on like a super heavy pushing siege champion like Caitlyn, and he'll just freeze the wave. Again, this is how we kind of started identifying Master3 as kind of a slow and steady style of team, because their lane phase is pretty questionable across the board, at least when you're matching it up against other top-tier LPL teams. And SMLZ, he just he sits in the lane, he freezes it, he doesn't matter if his champion is good at, you know, level 2 power spikes like Kalista is, or if it's playing Caitlyn good at sieging towers. It's all just about the freeze and just getting as much farm as possible. He's like, I'll see you in the team fights, guys.
Yeah, and scary thing is, he's up against TNT on Tristana, who's going to shred through turrets with that explosive satchel. Yeah,
so we'll see if maybe he changed it up this time around. Maybe goes for a fast push. We could see that LoveCD affected the wave, pulling the creeps there, so they do have complete control of that wave, whether they want to fast push it or freeze it.
Yeah, V's already up there as well, and you can see Kandi is on that side of the jungle. Forward ward to spot out, see where Swift is going, as LoveCD will find that. Seems like it is going to be vertical jungling coming out of Qiao. LoveCD should have that on a timer, and you can see Looper following him around as well.
Important to note that TCT left the lane to help Swift invade, obviously because they're invading the Fog and War, bringing your support just in case. Don't want to run into anything fishy.
Generally a good thing. Hey, I get it. It's a Nautilus pun.
Fishy?
Because he's a deep-sea diver.
I got you.
There are no really fish-themed champions in this one.
Nanny, Fizz.
No, in this game.
Oh, in the game. I was going to say, there's plenty of fish champions.
Not in the game of League of Legends, but... yeah, things nice and slow for the early start. The vertical jungling is going to be successful. V actually did go for the recall, so he is missing out on the opportunity to double jungle it just a little bit. That should put him down just a touch in CS, but that does buy more time for for Swift. Uh-oh.
To get solo EXP.
Yeah.
Is the important thing. But Dade taking a lot of harass from Doinby. And the thing about Lulu is she is a lane bully, obviously, because she's going to interact in a lane very much how an AD carry will, because she has such oppressive range and so much damage with that glitter lance.
Ooh, she's getting really far forward here.
Yeah, she's being set up for a gank.
3 members coming down. Doinby, oh, he's got to be careful here. The 3 members of Master3 dash forward. The slow finds Doinby. Flash play. He tries to answer it with one of his own. The death sentence lands. It's Looper who gets first blood.
Threads it by the creep. I thought for sure that creep was going to take the death sentence for it, but fantastic flash from LoveCD and great start of CC by Dade there, saving his slow, waiting until it communicated with this team that they were going to go in.
Yeah, Doinby with the panic flash after the flay ended up taking the death regardless, and despite the early aggression, that is going to help Dade out quite a bit.
That said, the kill actually went over to Looper.
So that means Looper should be able to get just a little bit more experience as he follows Kandi around in the jungle. For the first recall of Doinby, however, he already had enough gold for that Forbidden Idol, so he's going to be getting some serious damage along with that consistent harass across. And already, once again, you can see Kandi pinging out nice and aggressively.
It's just massive, though, that Looper got that first blood. Like you can see, he's itemizing already into the Bomby Cinder. So if he continues to proceed with this double jungling, very quick and efficient at doing it with the Hecarim Q, as well as now the Bomby Cinder burn on the creeps.
Yeah, instead, he is going to head on down to the bottom side of the map to try to catch the wave, as both TNT and SMLZ are freezing this out a little bit. SMLZ doing exactly as predicted on the top side of the map. Just continuing to keep that wave nice and fat. TNT on that Tristana trying to do the same thing, though he is going to passively push. I'm curious to see. No, he actually hasn't taken any ticks in the explosive shot. He's still got 2 skill points that he hasn't spent yet because he doesn't want to passively
push the wave. Yeah, it's fairly common from a lot of Tristanas. I just always think it's so curious. SMLZ, he takes these champions that have such great advantages in 2v2s, Kalista and Caitlyn, and he wants to farm.
Yeah.
Kind of a unique,
bit of an herbivore
characteristic of an AD carry in China.
Definitely, especially in China, considering how aggressive everyone is.
Well, SMLZ was picked to be the protege of Qiao, originally when Master3 were known as World Elite Academy. Before Candy kind of took his spot over at AD carry, of course he got it back. So, I mean, if you think about Qiao's style and how he kind of sat in his identity inside WE, was farming up until 30 minutes. He has his core itemization. He's ready to fight.
Yeah, we actually have got 3 members of Masters 3 on that bottom side of the jungle. So after finally getting the explosive shot, putting 3 points into it all at once. You can see TNT was getting some pressure on that bottom tier 1, but 3 members of Masters3 responding. They don't want to lose that tier 1, continuing to buy time for SMLZ. Bit of an interesting choice.
It's just about getting Masters3 through their lane phase. They've been pretty sloppy on initial lane swaps in a lot of their games. I mean, this one, it looks fairly even right now. Of course, there was a big advantage. Oh, hold on. Here comes the dive.
Yeah, it just might be. The spear, narrowly misses. If that hit, that almost certainly would have been the beginning of it. The explosive shot is tossed out onto the cannon minion.
Really dangerous to dive 3-on-4, however,
Yeah,
especially against Condi, who's in his W form. So obviously, he's very prepared, waiting for Maokai to lead the charge with the Twisted Advance so he can get the knock-up.
And immediately just CC lock someone into that turret, which is such a scary combo. But right now, SMLZ has been left all alone on that top side of the map. So a little bit interesting to see how that's going to build out. Now, let's talk a little bit about team comps. We mentioned the Siege from Qiao. They've got Tristana, they've got Nidalee, they've got Lulu, poke and poke and poke.
They've got a lot of poke and they have a lot of rotation. Obviously, Nidalee very quick to rotate between lanes, but likewise Lulu, her ability to use her Whimsy on herself or on Tristana that they can rotate to or in between the waves to help push them down very quickly. On the other side, we talked about kind of the backline dive threat, how SMLZ has been left to his own devices. He has a very self-sufficient AD carry is what I like to call them. So people like Graves, Lucian, Callista that are able to kind of, you know, I don't need resources to peel for me. It's nice because I do massive sustained damage. But I can take care of myself, so you can be free to be that Kassadin or that Hecarim and dive onto the back line while I dance around the team fight.
And that's going to be something that's pretty important because he will have B chasing it. Looks like this could be the dive. Death Sentence finds Love CD. And Beast Condi actually recalled. There goes TCT. He's forced to flash out. TNT forced to burn the heal here. He's down so low. The smite from Condi kills him. TCT goes down as well. Swift tries to turn it. He gets the double shot onto Love CD and is forced to flash away. B, great knockback, is going to try disengaging here. Is Looper going to be able to catch up in time? Condi's looking for it. Can't find it.
Can't get the rotation through his W quick enough, but a fantastic counter flank from Condi right there to pick up the double kill. And Condi just looks so much better when he's on Rek'Sai versus any other jungler. Right now, sitting 2-0-1, 100% kill participation. And this is what Masters3 need. They need some sort of supplement, as I say, that Condi kills Swift.
Yeah, Swift trying to be a little greedy and continue clearing his jungle gets punished by Condi.
Obviously, very easy for Rek'Sai to do that, walk into the jungle, use his Tremor Sense to figure out where you're hiding. Her Tremor Sense, excuse me, sorry Rek'Sai.
And just knock him up and kill him.
I want, we never get to talk about skins, but I really want a Lady Rek'Sai skin, like Gentleman Cho'Gath.
With a gown?
Yeah, I think we talked about this upstairs, like her tunnels would be like a little cart and buggy, I think you said, as she's void rushing around, and to have like a little, like she comes out of the ground and have like a really poofy dress and it like bounces up and pops them. Little bow.
That would be cute.
I think it'd be adorable.
But then she still has the exact same sound.
I think you just change the pitch on it.
Slightly higher pitch. She's got like a small glass of champagne in her right hand. All the time, even when she's underground.
Just make it like a little back foot. One of her feet holds it.
Her feet don't really have claws, though. Have you seen her regular skin?
She has a tail, right?
She does.
But the tail can hold it. I'm trying to think of what Rek'Sai actually looks like. There he goes. He's void rushing. But no, this is important because Masters3, they have such she does have a tail. She has such an issue with getting through their lane phase that the fact that if Condi's ever able to get snowballing, obviously this speaks to the fact that their laners almost get kind of a passive buff just because the threat of Condi is so strong. And as I say, that Swift getting invaded on.
Yeah, Looper, seriously aggressive.
So this is a fantastic place for M3 to be in because it shores up their lane phase weakness.
Yeah, definitely does. You can see Love CD even zoning out TNT there. Poor guy.
He's also looking to itemize the Bloodthirster first as opposed to looking for a Hurricane or Bork.
Interesting choice to try building that. Now finally the trade. SMLZ has gotten out of the laning phase throughout all of Doinby's harassment. He's going to start trading that right on back. Double blue buff picked up for both of those mid laners means they should be reasonably safe in lane. Now we're 10 minutes into the game. And things are pretty safe now that we've made it to the laning phase. Looper, solid advantage. All of Master3, very solid advantage. And TNT, he's really not doing that great.
Yeah, That's a big CS discrepancy. We talked about how SMLZ has a big engagements going down.
Well, they are trying to go for a bit of a dive here. TCT taking some more punishment as SMLZ is up so much.
He's very... it's weird to classify an AD carry as a herbivore, but he's very much about the farm, you know, freezing the wave. He doesn't really care much about the towers, and it's really starting to show in his CS discrepancy and where he's opening up a gold disparity between these two AD carries.
Yeah, things not looking that great for Xiaogu so
far.
He's
looking for
Here
a
comes
dive.
a dive. Ooh, LPL goes forward, flagging. He's going to find TNT. He doesn't have the buster shot, doesn't even have to use the death sentence. TNT does so much damage, but SMLZ does even more. That was so much damage, it broke the game.
He just ejected Tristana from the game. No, but this is why I love the combo. It's so classic now of Kalista Thresh. There's just so many ways you can play with it. Obviously, a fantastic Fate's Call ultimate to throw Thresh forward. Great job on LoveCD, making sure that he could find the flay. And he keeps getting perfectly around the creep, showing his comfort on Thresh, able to thread those death sentences to connect. So,
yeah,
great work.
Yeah, really solid stuff coming out of that. And with that, it's now going to be 5-1. For Master3. We said slow and steady wins the grace. Wins the grace, yes. Wins both the grace and the race, but these guys are anything but this time around. And Xiaogu, they had so much more aggression statistically, but they are not having a good time with this game.
I just hope Master3 quickly identify kind of the reoccurring trends in their success, and it's Condi on Rek'Sai.
Yeah.
Their lane phase is weak. Condi on Rek'Sai is able to supplement that, to shore up that weakness and to get them through it. And if you can get Master3 on the other side, they have the power players like Looper, like Dade. I mean, Looper is a world champion. Dade has 2 OGN titles on 2 different teams. That is a very rare thing to have. So they have a lot of potential to be a top-tier team, but it's just that consistency. So if they can just look internally at themselves, okay, what is the thing, every time we win, what are these reoccurring threads for us? Oh, our jungler, he can play Rek'Sai.
Yeah, he's pretty good at that champion, or so I hear. But I mean, Looper is also on Hecarim, and he's doing really well on Hecarim. He was way up in experience, and I think he was a full level up on V, who, as we mentioned, is role-playing these tanks. So it looks like Masters3 are in a really solid position to transition into a powerful, powerful mid-game. And
Xiaogu, I mean, really, they structured their composition, you know, second rotating that Maokai in response to the Kalista as a counter factor to that first pick list of SMLZ. Yeah, SMLZ, he started to rise up in performance because, oh, we're back in.
Yeah, we are back in.
Because of the Caitlyn, but obviously now on the Kalista, which is normally banned. I mean, he's not typically the big power player for Masters3. So we'll see if maybe the fact that they put so many resources into answering him, if maybe Dade or Looper can start to run away with this game.
Yeah, we're starting to see some big advantages open up. It's 11.5 minutes into the game. That first dragon was just secured by Master3. And you can see Condi looking for another gank onto Doinby. He's got his flash. There's the knockup. Doinby doesn't have enough mana for the ultimate, but he makes it under his tier 1.
Forces himself to burn the flash. That is a very scary place to be, especially because Dade has his Rift Walk now available, being level 8.
That is an 8.
As well as his flash and ignite, respectively.
Ooh, TNT trying to knock down this tier 1. He's not going to find it. Here comes LoveCD. There's the rocket jump. He gets out.
I just complimented LoveCD on his ability to thread his hooks, and he goes a little bit wide that time.
I don't think he was expecting the rocket jump.
Against Tristana?
I'm trying to throw him a bone.
I'm telling you, Lady Rek'Sai, it'd be so adorable.
Uh-oh. TCT caught recalling there. Oh, cancels the recall, immediately gives vision over to Condi. They're going to clear out this ward drop, 2 of their own, while Doinby continues to shove in the mid lane.
And they're free to constantly invade. You see a lot of deep vision set by Masters3 into Xiaogu's jungle, and the reason they're able to do this so they can catch out Doinby here is because the mid lane and the bot lane are winning.
Yeah, most certainly are. SMLZ level 9 now. TCT actually pulls himself to a minion accidentally. Spirit having the most difficult time, even in his own jungle. And like you said, there are so many deep wards coming out of Masters3. They're 3,000 gold ahead 13 minutes in off of those kills, but they didn't just take those kills, they expanded them into laning advantages.
I really like that you made that clarification, and it's so potent against Xiaogu. We talked about, yes, they have great resources across every single position that can kind of pick up the mantle to carry, but it starts with Swift. And making sure that they denied the Rek'Sai pick putting it on Condi, and Swift looking for another aggressive jungler like Nidalee, but the deep warding against him, so he just can't take off. It's really slowed down a normally very fast-paced Xiaogu.
Yeah, very, very slow version of Xiaogu we're seeing out of this game, and for the first time in a long time, it seems like we're finding Xiaogu on the back foot. Now, Blue has just spawned, and with so many deep wards, Master3 look to contest it. Swift, he clears out not one, but 2 wards. Oh, is going to be zoned away by Condi with that single sweeper. And gosh, there's so many wards. They almost find TCT out of position right here. There are 4 members of Master3 against the 4 of Xiaogu, but they've got the superior positioning and stronger breakpoints. Oh, the hook finds Swift. They immediately burst onto him. He's taken so much damage here. He's almost certainly going to go down. Dade picks up the kill. Teleport comes in from Looper. They turn onto TCT. A double kill for Dade. Blue is secured. SMLZ is being chased down by TCT. He finally goes down. V even teleported in. It's a full 5-on-5 here, and Xiaogu are losing this fight. Dade almost going to go down. No, he turns it around. The only survivor is TCT, and Master3 just cleaned that up.
Absolute disaster from Xiaogu right now. You do not want to cast it in at 15 minutes in the game to pick up a triple kill. Dade is going to quickly snowball and become that crazy massive threat that we all know Kassadin can be. But this is what we were talking about with their comp. SMLZ, self-sufficient champion, who went down. The only poor little Kalista because Kassadin and Hecarim were busy diving. But here's how this all started. Very nice hook onto Swift. Like you said, they immediately turn start to burst him. But Dade, with his positioning in this fight, not only does he clean up Swift, but then he stays in the back because he's waiting for TNT to use his rocket jump to see where Tristana will position. As soon as he sees the chain CC is locked and he can burst them, he just jumps right on top of him and kills him. But just the thought there to say, okay, Tristana can make her escape. I'm not going to burn my Rift Walk quite just yet. I want to make sure that I can secure this kill.
Yeah, and in the corner there, you actually saw Looper get killed by Swift in a solo kill in the jungle. Looks like he was just a little bit too aggressive. TNT getting some good damage, finally knocks down that turret. Looks like they're going to corner SMLZ once again, and despite doing some significant damage, he goes down.
What you doing, buddy? Why are you on that tower by himself?
I don't know, man.
Tried to trade it 1-for-1. Good pickup from TNT and great foresight from TCT to see that he was alone. They could look for the dive.
Yeah, with that, it's now 9-4. Dragons up in a minute and a half, and Masters3 took that last one quite convincingly. Dade, despite just being fed the blue buff from the other side of the map, is going to be fed yet another one. You can see he's 3-0-2, finished off that Rod of Ages, and now he's got a tier to stack on top of it. So Doinby not going to be having a very fun time in this mid lane right now.
But it's just so important, and we'll keep saying it over and over. Masters3, they're calling the shots. They're in control. They slowed down the pace of the game because they got to wait for their lane phase, but Dade is massive at this point.
We're getting a bit aggressive as Xiaogu might be catching him out of position here. He's got the Onslaught of Shadows, makes it over the wall. Oh, the depth charge. Oh, nobody's quite able to make it in time. Condi helping zone off just a little bit. Doinby not even going to find any position. Did he just flash that wall? No, he bounced over it.
He jumped.
Yeah, with the Cougar form.
Hippity-hoppity. Kind of curious that Looper didn't see that lane swap coming. So obviously TNT and TCT, they took that bottom tier tower, then quickly rotated and changed up Tristana to the top side to now siege the top tier tower. Looper caught a little bit off guard, is able to onslaught to safety, and he eats quite a bit of cooldowns.
Yeah, he definitely took a lot of damage there. You saw the desperation to try to kill him and earn some gold back as SMLZ gets some damage onto this bottom tier 1 turret. There should be a Tigger skin for Swift.
A Tigger skin?
Hippity hoppity.
Is that what Tigger says?
T-I-double-G-E-R.
I don't think that's the song.
Is it double G?
No, that part's right. But I don't think it's the hippity hoppity. He says something else.
He doesn't say hippity hoppity, but he bounces around, and Nidalee also bounces around. Oh, this looks like a dive. Might find Swift right here as the dragon has spawned. They force a fight, and
that's unfortunate.
It explodes into a pause.
Okay. Well, there's a team fight going down. It's been paused, so both teams can take a moment to catch their breath and really think about, do we want to continue going for this one? Do we want to disengage? I believe the dragon's up, yes?
Yes. Dragon did just spawn.
Condi looking for the initiation right there. I mean, effectively, if Xiaogu want to win these fights, they really need to take a step back and start laying down their poke beforehand, before they're looking for these big 5v5 engagements. If they just take Masters3 head on, Dade's already massive, so that's also very scary. But the backline threat again, Hecarim, with a straight 5v5, I don't think it's in their best case scenario. They need to look for either isolated picks or laying down their poke before they decide to commit on something.
Their vision control hasn't been that stellar this game either. I mean, Spirit, he's been mostly relegated to his own side of the jungle, and because he is going for that Nidalee, he's not going to exactly have a lot of wards as he's putting a lot of it into raw combat stats.
Yeah, and the deep vision on Swift, really to make sure that they understand where he is and making sure that he can't have an impact on the game. We talked about, who are the big playmakers for either of these teams. It's going to be Dade for Masters3 and it's Swift for Xiaogu. And I mean, the reason why Masters3 are ahead is because Dade is going off and Swift has been stalled out from fantastic deep vision for Masters3, and that's really been the story so far of this early to mid game. And
I think that's a great way to put it. That Swift has been stalled out like an engine. He's trying to kick it into gear. He got that solo kill onto Looper, and right now he's just not getting a lot of gold. You saw, if you take a look at his CS, he's been power farming the jungle as hard as he can to try to close some of those differences.
Very Cacao-esque, if you will.
But it's really cool to notice how QG know that that's their priority. That Swift is like, all right, sorry guys, I'm not going to gank at all. I need to catch up.
It's also building more damage-oriented. I believe he went into Trailblazer and then has a Magus enchantment on top of it. So he has the CDR AP for his jungle Nidalee. See if he maybe goes for more damage stats or if he'll start to tank out from here.
So let's try to project where this fight is going to go, because it really seems like Master3 have got the advantage.
That Xiaogu are going to completely disengage and try to reposition for a fight, possibly look for a steal or just give up the dragon altogether. They really need a pick, or they need to lay down some damage before they look for a full 5v5, especially for the positioning on Masters3. I believe they're all coming from the same side into that choke point up to the blue ramp.
Yeah.
And that...
This is dragon number 2 for them, so they can afford to let it go. It's only improved seat on turrets, and so far, it's not like Master3 have had the best rotations.
It's not like SMLZ is
taking
really interested
turrets.
in taking towers.
He's kind of more focused on just minions.
Yeah.
And increasing his overall gold as best he can. But I mean, Dade's been focused on turrets. Well, kills.
Dade's been trying to, again, recover from his lane phase. And the thing that's really important to... Oh, see. Actually, okay, so they did back off. Everyone backed off.
Yeah, it's Masters3 who disengaged right there. Xiaogu are in a very solid position. Looks like they do want to contest this dragon, feeling very confident. Infinity Edge is finished for TNT. SMLZ doesn't have a completed IE item. They dash forward with Doinby, clear the wave out. Things calm down.
It's important, though, that he has upgraded attack speed. The upgraded boots, obviously very important because it's going to give 100+ units of Kallista's passive. Having the attack speed, making sure that she can get more autos off so she can use her martial pose to reposition herself.
Yeah, they're trying to burn through this dragon right now. Kandi's in position to try smite stealing it. He is the same level as Swift. Dragon goes low. Who's going to be the one who gets it? It's secured by Swift. VO can't quite make up his mind, and they back away.
Pop the Righteous Glory, just maybe thinking if they got a good opportunity to commit on it, but instead quickly trying to rotate back into position of the tower. So M3, they lost the dragon, but they will surely get something else for their prize.
Yeah, they're taking so much damage onto this tier 1, and they wrecked that thing.
I'm going to say that that's still far worth for Masters3, just because the mid-tier tower going down is going to grant them the most passive control over the map.
Yeah, and missing out on that really big wave on the top side of the map. You can see V's heading up there to try catching it now, but he's missed out on so many minions, and with Masters3 all heading up there, they might even look to try breaking down that tier 1. Kandi getting a bit aggressive, buys time for SMLZ to burn through that thing, and the turret falls.
Question will be if anyone's going to look for an engagement, but looks like Masters3 is just going to go ahead and spin their global gold that they just got off of 2 towers.
Yeah, it's a 6,000 gold lead, well, 5.5 in favor of Masters3 as they continue to propel themselves through this mid-game now. 20 minutes in, and after picking up a few early kills, now they've been able to finally get objectives.
Nope, I like to see it. There's a big wave collecting into the bottom side. We'll see if SMLZ takes that, if they're going to give it over to Looper. Actually, looks like Looper's going to go ahead and pick it up. He does have his teleport available.
Looks like TNT does want to respond by taking a turret of his own. You can see that Infinity Edge doing some serious work and blows it up.
It's really just about that satchel right there, being able to push down towers. Tristana is deceptively good at sieging now that her satchel can proc onto the towers. You get multiple autos onto that, suddenly does a ton of damage.
They do find a pick right there. TCT is so low, and he ends up getting shredded, though it's traded right back over. There's the satchel. Tons of damage, getting another kill. A great play finds TNT and V. The death sentence somehow misses V, and he gets out.
That was so good from Love CD right there, but unfortunately just can't make it connect in the back half of the death sentence. So would have been some flashy LCS big plays, but unfortunately.
Well, certainly. Just wasn't quite able to make it either flashy nor LCS nor big.
Wow, rude. LPL small plays.
Wasn't really a play either.
He tried.
It was an LPL small.
Here comes the Void Rush.
Farm alarm.
Okay, let's talk about where Qiao have to go from here. So obviously they're kind of bleeding across every single map, so they need to restock themselves, stall out the bleeding, get their vision forward, or at least control the river, clear out their own jungle, and kind of reset their mentality for these team fights. Again, we talk about how it's about laying down poke before they go into these big 5v5. So pressure is on from Doinby and Swift. As we go into another... Oh, wait, it's unpausing. I saw it.
Did you?
I think I did.
In the future? I mean, eventually it's going to unpause whenever we get back into game, but it appears like...
so Ravened it.
We do have some minor technical difficulties running through the other players' end. And yeah, so let's talk a little bit about how Qiao are going to get back into this, because they are down just a little bit. They traded for that tier 1. I mean, it was going to unpause eventually.
It's like I see the future.
I mean, there's no way it would have gone through the whole pause animation. Gosh, I say that now.
Thanks for jinxing it.
Yeah, I know.
This will be your fault.
I just had everyone in the production room just look at me. But how are Qiao going to turn this around? Oh, TNT looks like he's caught up by Dade and is absolutely destroyed as Looper zones away the tank. Condi finds TCT. He dashes forward. There's the onslaught of shadows, but it's traded for a flash.
Well, what they needed to do is they need to get control of vision over that river, which you can see 2 wards there, but unfortunately those 2 wards were too little too late to save TNT. Because effectively they just needed to kind of power farm their way into their itemization so they could start doing damage and make the most of their poke. They do have a late carry threat in the form of Tristana, but if he can't safely farm his side lanes, the Master3 are very quickly going to run away. I love this ward. So I want to talk about this Baron ward. You place the ward behind the Baron's head. So you remember those wards that people used to do where they would place it near the base of Baron, so it was really hard to click because you'd end up hitting Baron. Now, obviously, Riot changed that, so it's much easier to click. So this is kind of the new evolution of that. And you can move your screen, obviously, so it's easier to kill the ward, which is what Condi did. But sometimes people just, they don't see the ward, or it's a little bit frustrating to try to move your screen around. You obviously have to go much deeper into the pit to be able to do it. I love that word.
Just a minor little trick right there. You can see Master3 were looking for a pick. There goes the Fate's call. They find Doinby. The play goes wide. Here's teleport coming in from V. Not so sure that he wants it as Dade chases. Doinby goes low, but he's going to get out just fine. V completes his teleport into 4 members. I don't think he wanted to do that.
I pressed cancel, coach. I pressed cancel.
Get me out of here.
It didn't go through. He's guys, I didn't want that.
Yeah. So suddenly it seems like Qiao once again are kind of in a bad spot.
V's face says it all right now.
Yeah. That little look of panic in his eyes, the uh-oh.
Yeah.
The deep breath, the inhale through the teeth.
Good news is Doinby got out alive, obviously with a clutch heal from Swift right there.
He also still has his wild growth, so if Dade dives in, he will still be able to survive a bit of damage.
See, if I don't think Dade will bait that far. I have a feeling that Dade's about to collapse on that poor little tree that just
we'll have to
teleported into the middle of 5
poor
people.
Guy. Oh my gosh. Have you ever done that where you're like, all right, let's collapse. Let's turn into a team fight.
He's okay. He made it.
Team, please. Team.
Oh.
Yeah, he is still alive. So Dragon number 2 is up for both of the teams. The last one was secured. Spear finds Condi for a lot of damage to Hook. Tries to turn it a little bit, but I don't think TCT wants this. He burned his flash already. I don't understand. 0 reason for TCT to be there right now. He knows that Doinby's back. He knows that V's back. And speaking of 0 reason, they should not be that far forward. Yeah, a lot of damage coming across. You can see Condi actually going to take the satchel right there. Doing a bit of damage. And Qiao very far forward. Now Doinby still has his wild growth. It is 4 versus 5 as TCT is dead. And V, finally healed up, is going to be on the bottom side.
The damage coming out of Dade right now. He's really starting to hit his stride, especially at that 25-minute mark. He should have the fully stacked Rod of Ages prime and ready for him. We'll see where he is on his tier. He has completed the Archangel staff, but it hasn't been upgraded, so he doesn't have the shield quite available yet.
Yeah. He's going to be doing some serious damage once he gets onto the backside. And
this is what we talk about with Dade also. Speaking of that build, he's got upgraded Merc Treads with Home Guard.
Yeah.
He always builds just a little bit tanky, just a little bit beefy. And we make the joke that Looper, you know, doesn't have Dade just jumping on V.
No, he does so much damage there, continuing to chase V down. V doesn't have flash. He might actually die here as a fight looks like it breaks out in the river. V goes low. Dade chases. Gets the kill. It's now 5v4. Onslaught of Shadows find 3 members of Xiaogu. They dive in. Swift destroys. TCT follows him to the grave. A double kill. Dade diving in. He's going to be shut down now by TNT, who gets the reset. Ignite is burning away, but he should be able to get out alive. A 1-for-3 trade.
Dade a little bit overzealous right there, but Master3 just really flexing their gold lead and how far ahead they are. Fantastic onslaught of shadows from Looper, and with that cleanup fight, it'll be the dragon. Yeah, they take the blue buff, they take the dragon, and they take a few kills as well. So Master3 have got this game completely in their hands. They've got the Xiaogu. They seem to be reeling from this. They just cannot recover. And they don't have a lot of options, frankly, to recover. So Lulu is starting to hit her stride. I like to call her a mid-bridge champion. So she's a lane bully, which we saw to great success, really bowling out Dade early, pushing him underneath his tower. But as it comes to mid-game to late game, she transitions from a lane bully and a damage threat into more of a utility-based champion, obviously looking for the CDR and the flat AP to help benefit her shields and her wild growth bonus health that she'll be giving to her teammates. So it's really all on the shoulders of TNT right now to carry his team through this.
Yeah, he's trying really hard. You can see he's at 3-4-1, now finished that attack speed item on top of the Infinity Edge as well. So hopefully he can carry things together. His team has been getting caught out of position so much, and this is a completely different Masters 3 than what we saw in day 1 and day 2 of this weekend.
Well, I mean, in the 2-0 against Invictus, this is pretty standard, but the question has always been consistency. Who is going to consistently show up for Masters 3?
Yeah.
In the upcoming weeks, it's been Looper really ramping up, and this week, currently, it's really been Dade.
The big question for me, though, is in those games against IG, they both ended up going exceptionally long, and despite having enormous advantages, Master3 had 3 Barons.
They had, yeah, 3 Barons and 4 Dragons.
They still couldn't close out the game. So that begs the question, are they going to fall prey to that same trap once again? Or will they be able to close it out a little bit more convincingly? You can see they're actually on the Baron side of the map right now with Dragon secured. No reason to be shoving on the bottom side. And again, they're looking for picks. If they find it, then that's Baron. TNT getting some good damage. And speaking of picks, TNT goes low. They turn it on to Love CD. Fate's Call pulls him out, and he's going to live.
TNT almost able to turn that one completely around. The wild growth is still available from Doinby, so Xiaogu, I mean, we said that their shining light is really in this Tristana performance, and TNT, I mean, he showed up in that. That looked like it could have been disaster. Yeah,
that was really cutting it close, but excellent, excellent communication from Xiaogu, knowing that that wild growth was still available. He didn't burn flash, he didn't burn heal, and he's still alive for the time being. So, Xiaogu, know that this Baron is very important for Master3. Know that picks are very important. The vision control has been phenomenal. Phenomenal. No. Swift does not have a Sight Stone. Instead, he decided to go for full AP. Has a Luden's Echo. Oh my gosh.
Hit that
so much spear.
Procs the Luden's Echo.
Traps proc it too.
Giving AoE damage to Nidalee Poke.
Yeah.
Since patch 5.8?
7 was it?
I think it might have been 7.
Not 100% certain. But that's not a lot of vision for Xiaogu overall, because they do have only the Sight Stone on TCT and only 2 sweepers on their side as well. So you can see that's starting to hurt them a little bit as they're relying completely on defensive wards. Oh man, I'm just waiting for that spear to land. And Masters3 continue to pressure forward. Looks like they might find someone out of position. This time the play goes wide, and they're just going to clear a pink.
Doing a great job, being very patient, setting up their Baron vision, knowing that they can look for a pick here, that they are in the advantageous driver's seat, that if a fight breaks out, that they will win. They just need to force Xiaogu to do it.
Here comes the knockup. Kandi finds Swift. A huge onslaught of shadows. Gets onto TNT. He goes low. Looks like Looper tries to chase him away. A great buster shot knocks him on the backside. SMLZ separated from everyone else. Takes some damage from Doinby, but Dade and Kandi are going to chase him down, punish him for attacking their AD carry. In fact, he's still running away so fast on that Lulu, and remarkably, nobody dies.
He's going, gone. They advance successfully in the opposite direction, but Master3 will go ahead and start the Baron.
Ooh.
Swift's in the area.
Yeah, Spear finds Kandi, but it doesn't do anywhere near enough damage. Let's see if he will be able to get the steal.
Oh my god.
TNT gets deleted by Dade. The rest of Xiaogu are waiting in the wing. Swift looking for the smite, doesn't find it. The Spear instead finds LPL. They try to fight over this. The Baron was secured, but Dade is just mopping up. He got 3 kills there. He now turns on to V. Is it going to be 4? No, it's not. But wow, Master3 just slaughtered Xiaogu.
And you saw the zippy on Swift right there. They were planning to get Swift into the pit to try to make the steal, but it's just impossible. You've got not just the double smite coming out of Looper and Kandi, but the Kalista passive Randon. With that ace, with that Baron, this will surely be the inhib.
Yeah, they take one tier 2, and yeah, they might back away. Dade is so scary. He's now got the fully stacked Staff of the Seraphim now. Oh my gosh, look at the damage coming across. That BT Runant, so strong.
Falling back towards the Dragon, playing this very safe, very respectful. This is kind of the downfall of Master3, I'll say, is they're not as efficient as they could be with their leads. But here we go. There's TNT immediately getting deleted, and like you said, Dade mopping up those team fights. He gets into the back line, and he just starts going through each of Xiaogu's members.
Gets 2 kills right there. Let's see if he does get 3. Oh no, in fact, it was only 2. A double kill over the duration of that, but a great mop-up from Master3. They've got that bear inhibitor in the mid lane, 1 tier 2 on the bottom side. Looks like they are going to be setting up a bit of a split push as you've got Kandi heading down to the bottom, the rest of Master3 shoving mid, as they've got their sights set on what appears to be Dragon with the next respawn.
Dragon will be up in 24 seconds. We do see that, like you said, Kandi setting up the wave on the bottom side of the map. Curious that he used his Void Rush there, as opposed to just walking and maybe using some split push pressure, since the teleport would be available from Looper.
Yeah, well, it's just a transition. You know, they're going to take this Dragon next, and what's the next big objective for them? Well, that last tier 2 turret, Looper splitting on the other side of the map, is eventually going to start pulling pressure. He doesn't need to be with his team right now because he's got teleport. There goes Dragon number 3 for Master3. I like to call it attack damage buff number 2 for Hecarim.
The movement speed buff.
Yeah.
I got you.
And it looks like Master3 wants to knock down that mid inhibitor first. You've got Dade shoving the wave, and gosh, he's scary. Level 16 already. And again, it is 31 minutes into the game. The Spear finds Kandi, but he is so tanky with the lock into the Iron Solari that it doesn't even matter. And Dade dashes forward. Look at that AoE damage alone.
With this mid inhibitor going down, that was the next big priority objective. We'll see where they rotate next. Looks like we're going to commit to the top side tower. That said, a big wave is forming for Xiaogu on the opposite side of the map. So Master3 have a window on how far they...
Oh my gosh. TNT has got to be careful there. Oh man, Dade.
He knows his damage. He's so aggressive. He's ready to carry. He jumped forward at Dade.
He did indeed. Baron buff did just fall off there. The hook finds TCT. They pull him forward for a lot of damage. He turns onto Dade, tries to bring him low, but Dade flashes. Look at all those shields. He's going to be doing so much damage in this, and despite TNT shredding through the health of his opponents, he just can't find the carries. With the front line of Xiaogu dead, this inhibitor is going down.
Master3, they live and die on the performance of Dade. Getting that triple kill early in the jungle set him on the snowball path, and I mean, effectively, it's been the Dade show. Kandi has performed, SMLZ is doing his job, but Dade is an unstoppable force right now.
Yeah, you can see 17 kills out of 22 for both Kandi and LPL. These guys have been all over the map together, and Master3 have been playing excellent this week.
This is a huge important week. They had 3 games this week. Some of their toughest opponents, Invictus Gaming, Xiaogu, they had the opportunity at 9 points. 2-0ing IG was a complete surprise. They did end up splitting against Vici, but Master3 could make a huge change in their standings and playoff run if they decide to 2-0 Xiaogu here. And right now, they put themselves in excellent position to start it.
Yeah, we'll have to see if they will be able to take this 2-0, because right now Master3 are on track to close out this game number 1. 2 inhibitors down, a wave now building on the bottom side. The remaining members of Master3 grouping up to take down that last tier 2 and therefore inhibitor turret. They've got complete control over the map. Dade is so strong right now. Holy cow.
Looking for his Zanya's Hourglass as his 5th item. We'd like to talk about how Dade does a very tanky sort of build with a lot of his champions.
Yeah,
Kassadin, no different.
The siege now begins. There is no Baron buff. Despite the spears actually hitting Love CD, it's not doing anywhere near enough damage, as the tier now being built by Swift. He's committed to that full damage build, but he's just not finding enough.
Did he build a tier at 20 or 34 minutes?
I like to think that he already had it, but I don't know.
Maybe we'll get a hover over. Check what its stacks are.
Just might be. Hook comes out. It is going to find TCT. Once again, he gets shredded down. Kandi dashes in. Here goes Dade.
Oh!
Destroys Swift. Doinby is going to be going low as well. Dade now gets onto TNT in the back line, who's trading really effectively, but SMLZ finally going aggressive this game. V is going to fall as well. That's 3 members of Xiaogu dead. They're going to get onto the inhibitor. With 3 inhibitors down, they might just try to end the game.
3 inhibitors down, massive waves pushing in on all sides from Xiaogu. This is certainly going to be game 1 for Master3. The question, can they follow up their success and look for a 2-0?
Yeah, we'll have to find out as Master3 shred the Nexus turrets in game number 1. They're on the Nexus itself. It's going low. It's going down. It's Master3 taking the win.
10-1-6 on Dade's Kassadin performance. I'll say it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Get them through the lane phase, and Master3 can be a top contender for the LPL teams. Kandi on Rek'Sai is so important. This should be a big priority pick for them looking forward.
Yeah, and this